Let me ask you a question. What if breaking free from societal boxes is the key to discovering your true, authentic self? Hi, I'm Julianne Meyer, and welcome to Seizing Your Greatness. Today's guest, she is a master mindset life coach dedicated to helping individuals become the best versions of themselves. Bethany Stone specializes in guiding both teens and adults, whether neurotypical or neurodivergent, toward personal growth by meeting them where they need it most. With certifications spanning master mindset life coaching, emotional intelligence, cognitive behavior, and more, Bethany empowers her clients to thrive by fostering emotional awareness, confidence, and healthy habits. And this is the thing we're most excited about. She's also the creator of the Embrace, Empower, Evolve Your 5 Self-Care Buckets course. And it's designed to provide real solutions for stress and anxiety, promoting holistic wellness across all aspects of life. Bethany, I am so thrilled to have you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here. Thank you.
Yes, we finally made it happen. Woohoo! For those that are watching, I was under the weather the other day when we were supposed to get together. And so I'm so grateful that we were able to make this happen quickly. And, as I mentioned in the intro, you are so qualified for so many things. In fact, I described you to somebody else as a professional student. And so you're quite intelligent, but you're quite intelligent, but there
Thank
is more to
you.
you than that. So I'm just curious, out of all the things that really light your fire, tell us why this course that you've recently created, why that is really exciting for you now.
I'm so excited about this course because over everyone that I've met and the 22 years of experience teaching and everything else, I think the most frustrating thing when people are trying to get help and support is that there's so much runaround to like, just tell me what I need to do. I'm feeling these things. And I've learned by teaching children up to adults and everything else that there really are things that you can do. If you're feeling certain emotions, these are literally things you can do right now to help regulate those emotions. And I think that's why I'm so excited about this course is because it gives you actionable steps immediately to learn and to implement. And I think that that's something that's really unique.
That is really unique because, as most of us tend to be human doings versus human beings, it's kind of nice to know that you can actually do something for yourself besides just sit in whatever that is. How did you come across the idea for this? I mean, is it something that you've been thinking about for a long time, or what is the magic behind the magic?
So I have been presenting at educational conferences for teacher burnout. That's something that I would end up teaching about for a long time. And
Mhm.
I came up with, there's actually 5 areas of self-care, and self-care is not like fun. That's the thing. I think that a lot of people were like, oh, self-care, I'm going to go do my hair. I'm going to go get my nails done. I'm going to go do all these fun things for myself. But realistically, self-care are things that you need to do so that you feel full as a person so that you can give of yourself. And self-care means that, guess what? I need to eat good food. I need to take care of my body. I need to have a connection outside of my circle. I need to, read a book or do something to stimulate my mind. There's different areas of self-care that we need to do that really fulfill us holistically and fully. And by doing those things, we really actually are able to progress in our lives. Like, I think we forget that that is also self-care.
Mhm.
And when we do that, we can give of ourselves.
Oh, I love that so much. There's something that I used to say all the time that I think will resonate with you as well. And that's, we don't just feed with our mouths. What are
Yeah,
we
yeah.
feeding our mind, our soul? How are we treating our body? And I'm just like, I don't know. There's just so much more to, as my last show would say, there's more to health and wellness than broccoli and burpees. But it's just so true because we don't take care of certain things. We tend to think, oh, that's for my extra time, when then other things take up your extra time, wouldn't you say?
Yes, yes. And so over like 10 years of like presenting to teachers and realizing that all these teachers are burned out. And then also, talking to high school students and giving seminars to high school kids, all these high school kids are becoming like stressed and all these things. I'm like, whoa, you literally are experiencing burnout and you don't even know it, like as a high school student. And so teaching these skills and learning to recognize like when you're in a vicious cycle and how to get out of a vicious cycle into a virtuous cycle. I mean, these are important skills that you need to like know so that you cannot get caught in them. And anyways, I'm just excited because I don't think anyone's ever done something like that before.
Well, if they have, I don't know about it. So thank you. There's something that you were just talking about, the vicious cycle and not knowing that we're in it or not recognizing the signs of that. And, as somebody, I used to work in addiction recovery, and we used to do that. As a collective in that world, we would trauma compare. And it was never like, oh, mine's worse than yours. It was, oh, I don't have it as bad as so and so, so mine isn't really that bad. And I'm just curious, if people do that with their own emotions, or if you've noticed something like that, it's like, oh, it's really not that bad. It'll be fine tomorrow. I just need more sleep, or, and just sort of, brush it off without taking it seriously.
Yeah. And literally, how you start getting into a vicious cycle is one negative thought.
Mm,
One negative thought starts you into a vicious cycle. Isn't that crazy?
that is
And
crazy.
like if you go through, I'm going to go through a little bit of a vicious cycle so you know.
Hmm.
So if you start with a vicious cycle, you start with a negative thought. And whatever you think, your body responds. So if you're thinking a negative thought, your body is going to respond. So instantly, I'm not good enough. Whatever the thought is, your body is going to respond as, slumped, hunched over, looking down at the ground. You're going to respond to the thought that you had. And because your body is responding, it's going to go back up to your mind and you're going to be like, well, I'm not feeling good enough now. So now I don't want to do anything. And, and then it just continues. And now I'm just like, and now I'm not achieving any of my goals. So it doesn't even matter. Why am I so sad? Why?
Yeah.
And it just started with a thought. And it's when you can catch yourself within those thoughts, like
Hmm.
honestly, I mean, everyone gets caught in the vicious cycle. There's no such thing as somebody that cannot. But it's
Hmm.
catching yourself within that vicious cycle, being like, "Holy cow! Wait, I'm really feeling gross right now, and I'm starting to negative self-talk. Okay, I need to jump over to a virtuous cycle.
Yeah.
How do you do that? And everyone has heard the fake it till you make it. And honestly, even if you're sad, if you put a smile on your face, eventually that smile is going to be a real smile. And your body posture is going to change. And your
Hmm.
thoughts are going to change. And sometimes it is you're not feeling it. But if you're acting it, it's the same thing. You're going to tell your brain, and your brain is going to respond the same way. It's going to be like, oh, yeah, things are not so bad. Oh, yeah, look at that. That's actually pretty good. And it just is this reciprocal thing back and forth from your brain and the body, back and forth. And so it's catching yourself within it. And then you can progress.
Well, I was just thinking too about this idea of even the language we use when we're talking about feelings, because high on life, down in the dumps, even the way we talk is like elevated or smushed in and down. So to
Yeah.
describe how we are is it's intrinsic into how we live. And so it's cool to hear you talk about it in such a way, because now you can do something if you're aware.
Yeah. And it's about just being aware and like
Yeah.
moving out of it.
Yeah, exactly. I have this question because, knowing that you've worked with neurotypical people as well as neurodivergent, I'm wondering, I would think that working with neurodivergent people might be a little bit easier in a way, because they don't necessarily have the same preconceived notions that are societal, because it's just a little bit different way of thinking already. I'm curious what your experience has been.
I think it's unique in the fact that a lot of the times you either have a neurodivergent that is so stuck in their ways that they
Mm,
cannot progress, or you'll have a neurodivergent that's like, some you just tell me how I'm supposed to act so I can implement that. So you have like both
Huh.
versions. You have the ones that are like, this is the way it needs to be, and it needs to fit into this mold.
Yeah.
And you have to be like, there's a lot of different things that can fit into the same mold, and you have to like kind of reframe it. And then you have the other ones that are like, I really want to be able to fit a mold. Please tell me how to do it. So it really, that's why it's so unique, where you have to really meet people where they're at. But the
Yeah.
same thing is with typical, neurotypical people. Realistically, I mean, sometimes you're super stuck in our ways and sometimes you're not. It doesn't really matter. Every brain is so unique in the way that it thinks. Every brain is so unique in the way that they think. I think that a neurotypical brain, a lot of the times, like they'll just see like a pen, right? But then you
Mhm.
have like the neurodivergent, and they're like, that's not just a pen. This is also a dot and a dash. And it's also can be a line. And it can also be like, every brain is so unique and so different. And it's like adjusting to how they think so that
Mhm.
they can grasp the concept. And I think that's what's so beautiful about like meeting somebody exactly where they're at and knowing how they think and how they work.
So I'm so glad you said that because, I think that right now we're in a society where we all think that we have to think exactly the same way and believe all the same things. Otherwise, the other person is wrong. And I just love this idea of inclusivity and just seeing like where meet them where they are. Just go there. Like, why is why is your home
Yeah,
better than theirs? you
I
know.
know. I know. And
I love
I
that.
actually just yesterday, went on a Holocaust field trip with my son.
Oh
And it was
wow.
really unique. So, well, the 5 hour bus trip was unique in its own way, um, but we went to, it was called the Anne Frank Memorial Building, and they had this inclusion center there. And I thought it was so amazing because they were talking about how, as a society and as a whole, we have forgotten humanity
Mhm.
and the different times that we've forgotten humanity over the, history. And I thought, you know what, we literally have just lived this too. We've lived, I think during COVID we kind of forgot about humanity for a second, and then we're like, well, okay, we're okay again. Right? But I mean, we literally just lived through all this all over again. And it's amazing to me that our bodies and our minds are so driven with fear over things that we don't understand.
Mm.
And that's why I feel like inclusion is something that some people just don't understand and won't touch because of fear. Because, if you don't understand it, you don't want to deal with it. But
True.
when you do understand it, it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And same with humanity. And that's why we need to remember that everyone is just, doesn't matter where they're at. Doesn't matter if they are nuts, high off their rocker, whatever, they're going to come down, and then you can work with them. Like, you just have to be able to meet people, and everyone goes through crazy. It's fine. We all go through our own crazy. We're okay.
I like that you're normalizing that a little bit because we all think we're the only ones. And,
No.
having worked in the addiction world and in mental health and all these different places, we all have something. There is always something that's going on. And I like this idea of it just not being such a secret. It's just like, yeah, this is part of life, kind of like breathing.
Yes. Yeah. And we go through phases of life, and we
Hmm.
go through it, and we just have to remember the humanity of it. Like, they're just going through a hard time right now. Let's
Yeah.
love them. And that's okay because they'll come out of it. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've had my crazy moments. Actually, I know this. You can ask my children. I've had crazy moments, okay? It's okay. We all do. But
Hmm.
we come out of it and we're like, whoa, that wasn't cool, but I can do better. And that was a little crazy, but we're okay. I mean, we go through these things. I mean, you have relationships with friends, and they'll be like, you're a little nuts, like, or you weren't very nice, or, we
Mhm.
go through these things, and that's human nature. It's
Mhm.
being able to recognize these things, take ownership of these things, and better ourselves and, just grow from where we're at.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, grow from where we're at and stop making ourselves wrong for where we are.
I know. Life is hard, okay?
Why
It just
I
is.
know. Why make it even harder? It's interesting because and this is, I don't think I've ever shared this out loud. I mean, so publicly, but um, who I was so ashamed of for so long that I kind of like hid her. And it's not until recently that I became very grateful for who she was, because that's it took her to get me to where I am now. And where I am now is going to get me to where I go next. And as soon as I realized, oh, she served a purpose and she did the best she could, and I showed myself the same grace I would show somebody else. It
Yeah,
was pretty remarkable.
I love that.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
know why I felt compelled to share that, but for some reason it just had to come out. So,
and I think that we really pigeonhole ourselves. So, like, we see what society wants. Like, they
Mhm,
say, please be this. You need to be this little bundled package. Please be this. And so we
mhm.
try to pigeonhole ourselves into what they see and what is acceptable. But are we happy?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that makes us beautiful and makes humanity and everything awesome is that we are all different and that
Mhm,
we all have our own crap and we all have our own crazy and we all have our own beautiful and we all have our own greatness. And when
mhm.
we bring it all together, we can raise each other up and learn from it. And that is what's beautiful. But if we keep trying to fit into these boxes and never accept who we are, we don't actually get to express or see the beauty of everyone because we keep trying to fit into something that we're not. And that's not fun. Be who you are. We're all just kids. I mean, we all just are big kids. That's the reality.
I love that. I know that you've been a teacher to younger people and more mature people, and that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with age.
No, it doesn't.
I'm just curious too, you know, is there really that much of a difference between an adult and a child when it comes to life skills and things that, maybe we're lacking in? Because I think that as adults, we think that we should know things and that they should be second nature. Because we're a certain age, this should be easy. But we're never really taught even things like how to grieve or anything like that. So I'm just curious what your living experience has been, so that maybe adults can feel a little bit better or have some better understanding of maybe where they are.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that it is so much easier to teach emotional awareness to a child than it is to an adult. That is one thing that I do know because they want to understand why they're feeling like, why am I crying? Why am I mad? And when you explain it and you give them the words, they're like, yeah, I am really sad or I am really mad. You're right. I am mad. I'm like, and it's okay to be mad. And with adults, you can't be like, I think you're feeling really mad right now. And they'll be like, of course I am. Ah, you know what I mean? They're not as accepting of like, please help me get the language to process through this. But the thing with adults, like teaching adults emotional awareness, is that they're ready to implement the things to help them recognize it quicker. Children can't do that.
Mm.
Children, you just have to like give them the awareness and they're ready to understand it, but they can't implement the changes as quickly. But
Oh,
as adults, yeah, we are. If you tell us how to do it, we're able to do it.
once again, meeting people where they are. That is
Yeah.
definitely the
Well,
theme.
there's in my emotional self-care bucket course, so there's 5 different courses. It actually, so I came up with some breathing techniques and I go over them. And they're things I use with children actually, but like a bear breath and a snake breath. And the reason why they work is because they hit proprioceptive inputs. So they can actually release the tension or release the stress or have a clearing effect because they're giving the input that your brain needs to reach that. And when you're given that as an adult, you can remember, oh, I'm having a lot of stress. I need to do a snake breath right now, right?
Mhm.
As a child, you have to be told, like, I think you need to do this. And that is the big difference. Like, we can implement because we can remember. Children are like, I don't know what I'm doing. Please tell me.
But that's why they're children too. So
I know. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I love that so much hearing that because there's hope, there's hope. And the thing that I really like about you and what you teach and how you show up in the world is there's science behind it. There's logic behind what you do. This is not, let me just sort of guess and like this worked for me. There's actually, proven, uh, like the breath work, it's proven. So it's not just, well, why don't you try
Hmm.
this? I'm so tired of like, if you go and ask somebody, hey, I need help with this, and they'll, well, why don't you try this? If you don't know the
No,
answer, don't share.
no, like literally, there's like in special education, you know that if a child is responding this way, it is scientifically proven that they need to have proprioceptive input, which is impact on your body or tension or things like that.
Mhm.
And when you do that, how your brain responds to those things is it actually will release all of the tension and all the stress that you're having at the moment, because literally you feel tight inside, your brain feels nuts, you do certain movements, certain things, and you can release that. That is proven.
Mhm.
And it's true. It's a beautiful thing when you get to have the tools to control yourself. You get the power back.
Exactly. And that's what I hear from you too. It's about getting your power back and just sort of really making choices instead of living by default. And I think that that is such a thing that we as adults tend to not even realize we're doing. So
Yeah.
we are running a little bit low on time, so we've only got like 3 minutes left. But the question I always like to ask my favorite guests is this one, and it is, what is something you wish that I'd asked you that you'd love to share?
Um, that is such a good one. I wish you would ask me things that fill my bucket. What do I do every day that fill me?
I would love to
How
hear
about
that. Please share. Please share what fills your bucket.
that? Okay. So when I was discovering all these things, I realized like I was in a really low part of my life, but I knew all the steps. And so I was putting myself together and everything else. And I started with a better me list. And I actually only put 3 things on my better me list. And every day I did this. And they were things that I knew that if I did them every day, I would feel better. And they were literally make my bed, drink water, and say my prayers. Not hard, right? But I knew that if I did them, I felt better. It has been years, and I have increased my better me list to 18 things. And
Wow.
every day I work on those things, and they're not hard. They're literally like, take your vitamins, you're getting old. Take your vitamins, drink water, clean eating. I mean, they're not hard things. But
Hmm.
I know that if I do them, I fill my buckets and I feel better. And I think that that's the perspective we need to take when we think about self-care is it's not something that's hard. You can add it into your life, and by doing it every single day, incrementally, you become a better person and you can always give.
I love that. And it's kind of a reminder to yourself too, right? Like for me, I'm thinking when you were talking about that, I was thinking I'm going to put water on, drink water on mine.
I know, and it's not hard, just like small things.
Yeah, it's really not hard, but sometimes we need those reminders that, hey, if we just, I'm one of those kinds of people where if I follow this, then I will be happy. And I know that if I just do this, then just give me the outline and I'll do it. And it
Yeah.
works. Sometimes I got to
Uh-huh.
boss me around.
That's how we're wired. Just tell me.
Yeah.
That's what I need to. I'm like, just tell me how to fix this, okay? And I will fix it.
Well, we're just about out of time. So I just want to make sure I popped up your website again one more time for those that are watching. And I wanted to say thank you so much for being on the show today, Bethany. It's an absolute pleasure. And for those of you who don't know Bethany yet, I would love for you to go check her out because we barely, and I'm not even kidding, barely scratch the surface of what this woman is about, what she knows, and how she shows up in the world. So, Bethany, I just want to say thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you, Julie. That was fun.
Thank you. And for those that are watching, thank you for being here. We will be back again next week on Thursday. So enjoy your week. Until then, bye for now.